Interesting session for you today, another one. So this session is session number 4 of the day. The session is called Innovation for Adaptation, Tackling the Climate and Hunger Emergencies Together. And who is going to host the session is the World Food Program. So I'm gonna give the floor to Mr. Bernard Kojavat, sorry, the head of the World Food Program Innovation Accelerator. Bernardo, floor is yours.
Thanks so much, Alex, and thank you everybody for being here. It's a great pleasure for me to be here. Let me just take this off for a second. Why do we talk about innovation for adaptation? I think it's one of those aspects, how can we actually make change and also produce a sign of hope in all the challenges that we're seeing here. And like, if you're, of course, like if you're here, like you know like the backgrounds of what we're talking about, because you hear my opening remarks, but we're going to keep it short. We'll have startup pitches, which is actually going to be about that sign of hope. And like you're going to be really excited about the potential of those innovators, for-profit startups that actually do something good, both tackling climate and hunger. And then we're going to go into an expert panel. And then if we have time, we'll have some time for networking. But let's see. Let's get to it. Now, a lot of you will know that global food systems are responsible for about 1/3 of man-made greenhouse gases. Now, that's one topic, which is why food systems in the discourse of climate action is really important and why we need to talk about that. At the same time, there's 333 million acutely hungry people, so people marching towards starvation. And this increase that you're seeing behind me, this is really driven by the increase also by more conflicts, but also climate change. Because again, climate change is not only affecting people across the globe, but specifically the most vulnerable, again, and more effective and more severe. Now, this is where, as World Food Program, we are actually tackling this in multiple ways, from anticipatory action, adapting, also microinsurance model, and also protection of people. Like there's a quite vast array of what we're doing as World Food Program. If you don't know us as well, is World Food Program is the world's largest humanitarian organization working towards zero hunger, and also that includes climate action work as well. Now, as World Food Program Innovation Accelerator then, our mission is to do exactly that, but through innovation, and support innovators to disrupt global hunger and other sustainable development goals, which includes a lot of other problems. Like we're actually now running a total of 16 different accelerator programs already this year. And we couldn't do this without our long-term partners that you're actually seeing on the slide also, like, which includes the German government, including BMZ, the Ministry of Development, Cooperation and Development, Foreign Office in Bavaria, but also other governments and private sector organizations and foundations. Now, if you're, our work here is we work on the World Food Program, innovative finance, blockchain, working with other partners, as I was saying, and also in partnerships and in platforms with different ecosystems and players. So, does it work? Can innovations actually go to scale? Our answer is yes, it can. Last year, the innovations and startups we've supported have positively impacted a total of 37 million people already. So that goes to show you might do a pilot with 100 people, 10,000 people, 100,000 people, but overall, now these 37 million people, this is everything from making cash transfers more effective or lifting several 100,000 smallholder farmers out of poverty and increasing their income. But you know, who am I to tell you about this? Let's talk about some examples that we see from last year. So actually, last year at this pitch event at COP, you saw one of the startups, Takachar, who is incidentally an Earthshot Prize winner. Now you'll hear a little bit more about Earthshot prizes later on. And they have been able to essentially produce a small machine that creates biochar or organic fertilizer with a machine that you can transport to fields. And this is something that's really, really exciting because it increases the smallholder farmer's income and tackles climate change. Second example is H2Grow, hydroponics innovations. active in 21 countries, 100,000 people already earning an income sustainably. People who might be in a refugee camp, people who are some of the most vulnerable. And last but not least, 2.8 million people benefiting from the R4 initiative, this is a Rural Resilience Initiative, which is actually talking about how do we leverage adaptation, but also insurance models with private sector to sustainably improve livelihoods of smallholder farmers and also better serve them for climate action needs. And that's not all. We as Accelerator, we work in climate action from the beginning, so we've been doing challenges specifically also on climate action. This week, we're running a Digital Green Innovation Accelerator program, which happens right now, this week, which is in partnership with the European Commission and BMZ and the GIZ. And we'll hear a bit more about a new collaboration with the Adaptation Fund that will, in the panel that is just about to start. Now, are you excited? I know you can't hold back to hear about the real superstars about climate startups, so this is why we're here today. Hear from startups that are doing really exciting work, combating climate change, but also benefiting vulnerable people and ending hunger. Now, with that, it's my great pleasure to introduce the first pitcher. So this is Adith, the CEO and founder of Bumitra. Adith, the floor is yours. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Bernard. There we go. Hello, everyone. My name is Adit Murthy, and I'm the founder and CEO of Bumitra. And Bumitra means friend of the earth in Sanskrit, and that is who we are. How did I get here? It all started about 6 or 7 years ago. I was traveling through a small village in South India when I saw a funeral procession. A farmer had committed suicide because that year the monsoon rains had failed, and along with it, the crop yields. That got me thinking, why do farmers have to struggle like this even in the 21st century? And if there's anything that they can do to fight back? And that's where I eventually came to Bumitra. Because climate change here is a gigaton scale problem. There are countless other farmers like the farmer I saw who are struggling right now. But we're often experiencing megaton scale solutions that aren't scaling fast enough to get us where we need to. So I've been thinking, how can we really scale to a gigaton scale and move the needle on climate change while benefiting farmers at scale? That's where Bumitra comes in. Bumitra is the leading international carbon removal marketplace powered by innovative technology that is transforming agriculture practices. And incidentally, this year, we also won the Earthshot Prize this year in the Fix Our Climate category. Thank you, everyone. And here's, by the way, the Earthshot pin. You can see it later. So we work with farmers and partners around the world, help them to improve their practices. And through these improved practices, they improve their soil carbon levels. We measure these soil carbon levels using satellites and AI and turn it into third-party certified, internationally recognized carbon removal credits, which we then sell to corporations and governments around the world to help them with their sustainability needs, while returning the majority of the proceeds back to the farmers as an additional income for them, and the vast majority back to the local communities. Today, we work across the world. We have significant acreage in Mexico with ranchers there, in India with smallholder farmers, 100,000 plus smallholder farmers in India. In East Africa, that's actually where we work closest with the World Food Program Innovation Accelerator and the Farm to Market Alliance. With both croplands and grasslands, actually, we have in East Africa. And lastly, also in different parts of South America that we work in as well. How does it work? It looks like the colors on the slide didn't come out well, but we will use over 100 plus satellites across the electromagnetic spectrum, along with proprietary AIs that we have trained using large amounts of ground truth data to really drive down the cost of measurement, particularly measurement of soil carbon, but we also do moisture and nutrients and other things. Drive down the cost by 99% plus. And the second thing that really helps us do what we do is our partners. Partners like the Farm to Market Alliance in East Africa, or corporates like Syngenta, or major financial institutions like the Rabobank, World Economic Forum, and others who support us to reach the farmers on the ground as well. But at the end of the day, our key stakeholders are the farmers and the communities that they are part of. Because our mission is that in the near future, no farmer has to struggle in the face of climate change, but every farmer can be a key part of the solution to keeping this planet pristine. Thank you.
So let's see how we're doing for time. Very well. So like, Silicon Valley style, 3-minute pitch. Maybe a question from the audience to Adith. Somebody who's bold. There's a gentleman here, so, okay.
Thank you. Very interesting and scalable. What is the technology behind remote sensing, and how do you approximate soil organic carbon accumulation in the soils?
Thank you.
Yeah, so we do two things. So there's a science layer behind the remote sensing, but beyond that, we also use large amounts of data to ensure that it matches realities on the ground. From the science perspective, it's kind of similar to how satellites today on the moon and Mars are able to measure moisture in the moon and Mars. In the same way, those similar kinds of satellites are even point on Earth. But on Earth, we have the benefit of having large amounts of ground truth data. We have access to huge amounts of ground truth data, some in partnership with the FTMA, for example, in East Africa, but also in other regions with governments or with our other partners in other regions. We have access to large amounts of ground truth data, actual soil samples, which we use to calibrate the system and be able to produce the proper results.
Well, thanks so much again, Adith. Give it up for Adith. Great presentation. He's still going to be around for questions. What's relevant for us is, of course, as World Food Program always, how does technologies or startups help some of the most vulnerable people on the planet? Because that's what we do as World Food Program, which is a good segue into our next startup. So S4S Technologies. So you hear from Niti about what her startup does. Niti, over to you.
S4S stands for Science for Society. Meet Anita Ghayat, a smallholder women farmer from western part of India. The income of farmers like Anita not only depend on the volume of their harvest, but also on the shape, size, color of the produce. Untimely rains, heat waves, and climate change has led to 25 to 30% of the total harvest of farmers like Anita to be of lower grade produce. This lower grade produce gets a lower price in the market, but is cosmetically damaged, but nutritionally intact. It is a lot of times the transportation cost as well as harvesting cost is greater than the value of produce, and that leads to farmers like Anita throw away their produce before they can even take it to the market. Lack of energy also prevents them to preserve and process their produce. At S4S, we work at the intersection of gender, agriculture, and energy access. We help smallholder women farmers set up their own processing units so that they can convert this lower grade produce into value-added food ingredients. So we first help them get technology. So we give them solar-powered grain millers, dehydrators, biomass-based milk preservers, so that they can now use whatever is their lower produce and convert that into food ingredients. Example, now their tomatoes can be converted into a ketchup. We also help them get affordable financing for these equipments. Most of these women are new to credit, don't have any collateral on basis of which the banks can give them loan. We have partnered with nationalized banks in India to give them loans at 6% rate of interest. We then aggregate whatever is their produce, do quality control, and sell it to large off-takers such as Nestle, Unilever, Indian Railways, Sodexo. This assures that we are catering to 2,500 institutional customers. We are currently working in 400 villages of India with 300,000 farmers and 2,000 women entrepreneurs. In this process, we do three things. First is that we give 10 to 15% income increase for smallholder farmers who can now sell their lower grade produce as well. The women entrepreneurs who are involved in processing earn an assured additional income of $1,500 to $2,000 annually, and they are out of poverty. Third thing is that we save more than 100,000 tons of produce from getting wasted and more than 300,000 tons of CO2 from entering the environment. we are working to make sure that this income directly goes in the hand of the women. This also helps them to invest in being more adaptable to climate change. Thank you. We invite you to join us in our journey of through food, empowering women, and as well as prevent food wastage.
Thank you so much, Niti, and like also another Earthshot Prize winner of this year. So like, just to say like a small pat on our back. So two of the 5 Earthshot Prize winners this year were startups that we've supported. So well done. So then let's actually go for anybody has a question to Niti in the audience. Who is bold? Yes.
Thank you so much. How inspiring. What other than additional funding do you need? What do you wish you had more of?
We are looking for large off-takers. We do a $30 million in revenue, and more than half, which is our COGS, goes to smallholder farmers. If we have assured buyers for whom we can, if the market is assured, we can actually cater to that. We are also looking for technical assistance so we can digitize the entire value chain for better quality control. So we are looking for catalytic funding there. And third is we are looking how these women entrepreneurs can actually get more, increase their capacity, increase their volume. So debt funding for around $50 million of a revolving fund is what we are looking at. So they can do more value-added product. Instead of like a ginger, they can do ginger garlic paste. So they can actually move up the value chain because the margins are much higher there, and it will help them also get more value. So we are making this more equitable and sustainable for the end consumer.
Well, thanks so much again, Niti. Give it up for Niti. Thank you. This is a really inspiring story, also because it's talking about like different aspects. We heard about technology solutions, AI. We heard about like now this is more business model, has a technology aspect to it, but like there can still be more digital about this. But now let's go to our third picture, which is actually coming through different ways to us, including our portfolio and EY. So now give it up to the next startup pitching. So Joyce from Echor Solutions. So Joyce, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. My name is Joyce Rugano. I am the founder and CEO Echor Solutions Kenya, where we convert organic waste into wealth for sustainable agriculture. This is my mother and I while I was growing up. This is my mother and I while I was growing up, and farming was our only source of income and food. However, over the years, I saw my mother toil with poor yields that did not only leave us without food, but without daily basic needs. And this fueled my determination to look for greener pastures, leading me to the cities to look for opportunities. However, the city was not the heaven I thought it was. I was met by big pieces of land covered by piles of unmanaged waste. In Kenya generates up to 22,000 metric tons of organic waste annually. And this is waste that could be converted into a useful product. Instead, it's put in landfills that generate up to 18.9 billion tons of carbon every year. As a young woman entrepreneur, I had to come up with a solution, not only to solve the problem of waste, but to see farmers like my mother increase their yields and improve their livelihoods. And this is why we developed and patented a technology called WasteBot Decomposer that uses microorganisms to convert any organic waste to organic fertilizer that is rich in minerals, rejuvenates the soils, and does not pollute the environment. This is a smart recycling bin that allows you to put in any organic waste, and it automatically converts that waste into organic fertilizer within 24 hours, 100 times faster as compared to the traditional methods of composting. More to it, this device is fitted with a layer of activated carbons that absorbs harmful gases like methane from waste, from being emitted to our environment. How we distribute our technology, we have set up 2 recycling centers in Kenya where we have put these devices. We have then partnered with the community to bring us organic waste from the community households. We do the conversion, package the fertilizer, and sell to small-scale farmers like my mother at an affordable price, completing the waste-to-cash loop cycle. So far, we've converted over 3,000 tons of organic waste that could have landed in a landfill. We have worked with more than 4,000 farmers that have increased their yields by more than 30%, have reduced their farm input costs, and increased their profits. We have a dream for the next 2 years. We want to see our technology distributed in many urban areas in East Africa by us opening 15 more recycling centers. And these centers will help us manage the amount of waste produced every day. And this will triple the amount of fertilizer produced and will help us impact up to 40,000 small-scale farmers every month. But for us to achieve this, we need a support of 100,000 USD for us that will fuel our goal to reach. With this experienced team, we believe we can achieve that. And we ask you to empower us, and we will be proud to have given us the wings to fly. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much, Joyce. Like, this is a really inspiring story, like, every time I hear it. Now, and I think it also goes to show what is exciting about this is it's actually working, right? Like, so it's one thing to talk about, like, theoretical, or there's problems, but, like, you've taken action, and because what you did, like, you see that impact already and the potential that it could have. Now, any question in the audience? I'm looking around. Oh, yeah.
Thanks so much, Joyce. It's really amazing work. Can you talk a little bit about the way that you're working with the community to understand what they should bring to the recycling center, training, incentivize? How do you kind of get that product to make sure that you have the input for the fertilizer?
So we work with informal urban settlements in Kenya because there is no way of managing waste in such areas. So we mostly partner with women who bring us and benefit from the waste that they bring to us. So we empower them to show them the importance of waste. You don't have to put it in the landfill. It can be converted to an important thing. We have also set up vertical gardens for them, and they use the same fertilizer so that we can empower them to see the importance of the waste they bring to us. So we partner with women mostly, and they benefit from it as well. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Joyce. Give it up again for Joyce, and thank you. The 3 startups, the founders will be around still. You heard they need funding, need more support, but they are on a journey to achieve something truly remarkable. Now, let me actually switch over then and switch gears to our panel. Now, for this, we have actually invited really an esteemed panel, and maybe I'll ask you to come on stage in the order that you are, like, please also, Your Excellency, if you're joining me. I know that microphone may not be working, but
We'll have it over here in case.
So, then I just need my notes, as we have elaborately prepared for this panel. Now, before we go into, like, everything, like, you know, actually talking about this, like, I might just give you each the floor to introduce yourself, just like, and because I want to show also, like, talking about innovation, talking about climate action, it's now not a single individual that can make change in the world. We need more partnerships, we need more collaboration. So this is also, I think, what we see really great on this panel here is, like, the diversity of who actually needs to come together. How can we have change, and how can we actually multiply it and scale it? But maybe quickly passing on the microphone, like a quick introduction. So, Excellency, over to you.
Mohammed Al-Amiri, Assistant Under Secretary for Food Diversity, for Ministry of Climate Change and Environment of UAE. Personally, Personally, I believe in the innovation and agri-tech to make a change within this harsh environment and climate change impact around the world. We have limitation of natural resources like water, enough arable land, and suitable climate for cultivation and producing more. So the solution will be introducing more and more technologies, agri-tech, and this will come up by small innovation, maybe in certain part of the world, nobody know about it. So focusing on this kind of impacting positively innovation, which improve livelihood of small scale farmers, which are there the main cornerstone of the worldwide production. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bridget Hoyer-Gosling. I help lead the team at Google.org, which is Google's philanthropy, and we focus specifically on ways that we can use AI, machine learning, data to accelerate progress on some of the world's most challenging issues by partnering with organizations around the world, innovators like those that you saw today, and otherwise to really bring the best of what we think technology has to offer around climate, around other important issues in the SDGs.
Thank you. Then maybe over to Jillian.
Super. Hi, I'm Jill Hind. I'm EY's Global Corporate Responsibility Leader. Our big focus is we run a program called EY Ripples, which I think is obvious by the metaphor. But we've got a bold ambition of impacting 1 billion lives by 2030, and a big focus for that is scaling the work that is incredible impact entrepreneurs undertake. And that is, we are ecosystem builders. So for us, it's all about partnering and looking at opportunities to scale their impactful solutions, as well as join up on big platform providers like the likes of Google, etc., to bring technology to the partnerships.
Perfect. Salia?
Hi, my name is Saliha Dabardzik. I'm with the Adaptation Fund. I lead the programming and innovation team there. And we see about over $500 million worth of proposals a year, of which there is a small but growing part that's dedicated to innovation. So we have this nascent portfolio established about 5 years ago. And one of the funding opportunities that have been created through this effort is under the Adaptation Fund is the Adaptation Fund Climate Innovation Accelerator, which is a vehicle that provides grants, these types of grants to these types of grantees. And I'm very pleased to say that the World Food Program has recently joined this partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to Paul.
Yes, hello to everybody. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you and share experiences. I'm in charge of a directorate at the German Ministry for Development, and partnering, long-standing partner of WFP, and this innovation cause for innovation is important to us since we think that innovation is part of the solution if we want to scale up our efforts. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Then, I mean, now you saw like the diversity that we have. It like didn't happen on purpose. On each end we have government representatives sitting. But if the microphone can pass back down again. So, thank you. Maybe I'll start with you, Excellency. And the microphone is doing funny things with me, but like it's, you know, it's gonna keep us creative and innovative here, so because otherwise it wouldn't be fun. Excellency, maybe if I can start with you. The UAE has put great emphasis on climate innovation, climate adaptation for obvious reasons. But I mean, can you give us one topic that you find personally exciting about life? Which area of innovation excites you the most? Yeah.
Actually, all of them good. Actually, they are impacting positively and on the livelihood of the farmers and saving food through converting, for example, converting the food waste to compost or fertilizer, and this also can used by smallholder. But personally, I believe in the alternative power, using the solar power alternatively for improve the production of small-scale farmers. This actually is one of the United Arab Emirates declaration for sustainable agriculture and resilient food system, and for agriculture, sustainable agriculture, sustainable food resilience, and climate action. Actually, the third objective of this declaration, supporting workers in agriculture and food system, including women and youth, for their livelihood are threatened by the climate change. So any improving on this pathway is really will impact on the farmers. And of course, maintaining exclusive, decent work through contents, appropriate approaches which could include increasing adaptation of diversifying incomes is very important for the smallholder farmers. And the concept itself, actually, already we have it here in UAE. You know, there are many small-scale farmers. They cannot sign with the big companies or catering company. So what we've done, actually, we brought company in the middle, who they can sign with them, okay? And they have certain cultivation program to produce certain crops. Then each of this farmer have special contract with the middle company, and the middle company signed with hundreds of millions, of course, of dirhams with the catering company who they are providing food to the main government entities or enterprises. So the concept itself is good, actually, to support a small-scale farmer, as I said. So it's very important to support them. Thank you.
Very interesting, and I think you're touching upon an important point, which is about, from a government perspective, also sustainable demand and how you can actually then work with the private sector. But maybe if we go with Bridget, then you're looking at this from a similar but different level. I mean, you're of course representing Google.org. You're looking at technology. How can technology play a role in climate action?
Well, I think we've seen some great examples of that here already today, obviously. We are, as is probably no surprise, really excited about what the advances that we're all seeing in artificial intelligence and in AI. Great to see Bumitra obviously developing really important tools in that space. And we are seeing across the board, I think, the way that those tools can potentially accelerate the progress that we all need to see on climate action across optimization in our energy systems, or even we've been doing work on airline contrails and trying to reduce them by small optimizations that we can make in the way that planes are flight. Work on prediction, especially in the adaptation space, as we try to understand what's ahead of us. We have some really great work happening actually with WFP at a more macro level, thinking about improved weather and climate modeling, especially in East Africa, where we're seeing real incredible challenge in terms of food impacts and hunger. How can we get better information more quickly at a lower cost and more efficiently, working hand in hand with government weather systems and predictors, and then be able, of course, to drive that to action. And that's why partnering with the WFP, I think, is so important, so that smaller organizations in each of these areas can really access that information and make it useful. And then, of course, critically, measurement and monitoring as well, as we think about just understanding the world around us. And I think you all have shown us today just the ways that you can bridge those smaller innovations and kind of that understanding at a smallholder farmer level. We need to marry that up with the bigger picture as well. And I think that's going to be the type of thing that we need to see. And then I'll just mention it because it's fun that and I'm a nerd at heart, that we also, I think, are just going to see some really interesting scientific breakthroughs that are powered by AI. And that could also really affect the food space too, right? As we think about new materials, new fertilizer types, new ways that we can really tackle some of these challenges that have been on kind of a growing track, but not exponential. It's possible that with AI models, we'll be able to see new scientific progress as well, and I think that that's really exciting.
No, that's cool. And like maybe a controversial question for you, like, and so because sometimes I'm talking to people and they say like, well, AI, we don't need that for climate act. Let's wait until like, you know, I don't know, like it's further developed. We shouldn't do that for humanitarian purposes. What do you tell people?
Well, I mean, I'm glad you asked, because one of the most important things is that we don't get distracted either by this new shiny object. AI is actually not good at a lot of things. I've just named a few things that it is good at, but I think we also need to be clear-eyed about where it is helpful and thoughtfully apply it in the work that we're doing. I think, you know, you all are doing such a great job of showing some of that here today. We also clearly are sitting here at this COP knowing that we don't have time to waste. And so one of the things that, you know, gets me excited is really how can we bring our most powerful technologies that we have at the forefront of that development. You know, how can we be thinking about large language models, for example? We have partners in India that we're supporting to build new tools that are actually reliable using ground truth, you know, good data, no hallucinations, to actually inform farmers, to give them kind of help in their call center where they're constantly overwhelmed with incoming asks and queries, but don't have the support. Those are the kinds of things that those kinds of particular models could be useful for. So I'm here partially at COP to say lean in. I think we need to take advantage of these technologies. We need to be clear-eyed and thoughtful, but we also don't have time to waste at this point either.
Nice. So also, as you see, like we have an AI expert on the panel, but then maybe looking at this technology, there's also innovation methodologies. Now, Gillian from EY, you're leveraging open innovation. Now, some of you may say, like, what is open innovation? So why do you do that, and why is this important?
Thanks, is this working? For us, yeah, I mean, we need open innovation to bring completely new, different perspectives. I think gone are the days where you're doing these siloed, competitive R&D structures to drive and bring new innovative solutions together. So like many organizations, but we partner and team with a lot of organizations and academia, investors, students, to actually crowdsource and bring in new ideation, which then ultimately can convert into some incredible startups that we're working with. But I think it goes beyond just that concept of crowdsourcing and ideas. It's very important as to give them an organized structure to work into as well. So that's where we drive with a lot of other partnering, and we've done some with you, Bernard, around accelerator sessions. So how do we actually take these ideas and help accelerate opportunities for these impact entrepreneurs? So for us, it's bringing an organized approach to innovation so that we can actually provide funding support and ultimately get these startups to grow and scale so that more and more people are impacted by their solutions.
And that's actually a great segue to Salia now, where it's like, so we, as Salia mentioned, like with the Adaptation Fund, we're in the process of launching a new Climate Adaptation Innovation Accelerator program. And you know, we are super excited about this, but like, I'm curious, Salia, so like, what would you like startups to gain from this program? Like, why do you do this? Like, I mean, you alluded to this like in your introduction already, like you say, like, well, innovation becomes increasingly more important. Like, why startups? Why do you think that's necessary?
Thank you for that question. So the Adaptation Fund's mission is obviously to support adaptation in developing countries, and we work in the most vulnerable contexts. The issue there is not that there aren't solutions and not that there aren't people who know what those solutions are, but really getting the support to them so that they can turn those solutions into reality or scale them up if they already exist and make them available and replicated wherever else they can work. So this is the idea behind plugging into the innovation ecosystem, because there has been in the past a bit of a disconnect or maybe just sort of ad hoc linkages between this grand adaptation effort, as well as the innovation energies in the countries themselves. So we're trying to, in our modest way, to bridge that gap. We are doing that already through the, as I already mentioned, Adaptation Fund Climate Innovation Accelerator, which started as a partnership between United Nations Development Program and United Nations Environment Program through their through the CTCN Climate Technology Center and Network. And this has been, this was launched not too long ago, actually towards the end of, during the pandemic, actually, towards the end of 2020. We had a lovely virtual launch, but since then, the program has really taken off, and there are 50 plus grantees now implementing projects that are really inspiring. I was sitting on a panel yesterday with a bunch of them and just listening to their stories and seeing the images. Well, it was a bit like today, and it's really a space where there's hope, and we just feel like we need to do more of this. Should I say just a little bit about the World?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So now, very recently, the World Food Program and UNIDO have also had their own programs approved under the AFCIA, so the Adaptation Fund is supporting those. And the WFP program is quite interesting because it aims to work in fragile contexts where WFP is present, and it will start with MENA. So there will be 4 cohorts to support early stage innovations, also growth stage, and also there will be capacity or technical assistance support to the grantees or potential grantees. So we're very excited to see where this goes. And we have an event on this that starts here today at 3 p.m. So if you'd like to hear more and hear more from Bernard, what they are planning to do, you are most welcome. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much, Celia. And like we are, of course, really grateful for the partnership, but also like what this means, bringing this together, like, you know, the work that you're doing in funding innovation, supporting them, but also like WFP's vast field presence and like working with communities, NGOs on the ground. Then maybe Paul, going to, so like, it's, I don't know, like, somebody, like you just chose to sit like this. It's like, it's amazing. It works perfectly in the flow. Paul, so for you, I guess the question is like, how important are innovation startups for you working with like smallholder farmers and climate action? Like, I mean, you also saw some startups earlier today, like, you know, when does this become relevant for you? Like, is this helpful? Do you look for innovations, or do you say, like, where does it stand for you?
Yeah. Thank you very much. First of all, I need to really thank for the pitches. It's just incredibly inspiring. I just came from another event, which was in the water and climate pavilion, and there too we had some presentation. And so you can see there's so many ideas out there and so many innovations out there, and we need to learn from them. And I think that's one of the key issues that we take with us. So even if cooperation, you know, I'm coming from a development ministry, trying to partner with WFP and so on. And but the most important thing is that we listen, that we learn, that we see what is out there. And that's why I think this partnership with WFP on Innovation Accelerator is just a beautiful idea, and so it shows that there are solutions, there are ideas, but they sort of trigger changes in what we can offer from so they are like multipliers. They if we listen carefully, I think they multiply resilience, and this is really key for us if we want to scale up our efforts internationally. So that's why I'm really thankful for your pitches and excellent presentations. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. No, thanks again also to like 3 amazing founders and like co-founders of startups that are doing the amazing work of going, like, you know, they see a problem and they are fixing it. And it's like, and I think this is like the way that you can actually show a sign of hope in that regard, right? Like, so like the examples that you're giving, like hundreds of thousands of female farmers that are now able to increase their income, like doubling your income, as like Niti was mentioning, or like, you know, it's tackling climate action and hunger at the same time, or also like talking about like food waste and like carbon emissions. Like, I think really, I mean, okay, we cured it so it's diverse, but like, you know, I'm still excited about this. But maybe we now go in like, do a quick lightning round. And look, I don't know, who has the microphone? Still with Paul? Yeah. Yes. Maybe we'll start with you actually, or in like, let's say, if you had a wish, and like in the audience, we also, I mean, we might have a couple of dozens or hundreds of people online that are following this session actually. What is one thing that you would say, like, you know, I don't know, a message you want to give to startups, or a message you want to give to somebody listening here, like, what more can we do? How can we get to the next level for, you know, innovation and climate action?
Is this a tough one? Because they know exactly what they need, and so it's sort of a little bit like arrogant that I give them any advice. But I'm listening to them. I think one of the I think they covered it all. It's about partnerships. It's about partnering with other actors, local actors, before partnering with us. So make sure, and that's I think nothing that you're hearing for the first time. You're doing it right now, but I think this is the most important thing: is partnering on the looking what is out there, and you know much better than we do. So that's what the point I want to make. Thank you.
Nice. So we have partnerships also with local actors, specifically Salia.
Same question?
Yes.
Same answer. We would, on behalf of the Adaptation Fund, we would appreciate to hear from you. What is it that you need as potential grantees or as other kinds of stakeholders? So when we established the AFSIA, when we first started with AFSIA program, and we had to present it to the board, we undertook a series of consultations, so we included youth, indigenous people, other stakeholders in these discussions. And I think going forward, there will be other opportunities to do so. We're establishing a different funding opportunity, locally led adaptation, and there are consultations going on right now at the COP. Please talk to me afterwards if you happen to be interested in that. But we're also learning from the process on how to do this better. In the meantime, please feel free to reach out to me if you see something that we could be doing better, or you see gaps that perhaps we may be able to fill. So that would be my response.
Perfect. And I think it's a great example also, like when we're talking about localization agenda, like supporting entrepreneurs to, like, you know, that are listening to the problems that people have. I think that's a perfect example also, like where how you actually support them and how you listen to the problems that people have. Jillian, over to you. Any advice to the startups here or out there?
Oh, there we go. Thanks.
Yeah.
I think it's about us just listening to. I think they were incredible pitches, and the discussion you had around offtake, and you know, you all coming at this with almost this is a whole. Is kind of the critical means to help it scale, and that's the conversations I'd like to have in terms of joining these partnerships. We are creating other alliances as well, but to me that's where the benefit is in terms of reconnecting with the industry. So
nice. Bridget.
I will echo what you all have said, and
you can also be controversial. Like you can also say, like,
well, I was going to say, and add also that, I don't know that it'll be controversial, but more just that it's really hard to do innovation in this space. Fair. And I just want to acknowledge that because I think it can be really hard. I mean, even walking around COP and everything is happening at such a high level, national government conversations, international organizations, and it's critical that we're doing that kind of systems work. And it can be really hard, I think, for innovators to be trying to kind of throw themselves what seems like against the brick wall of the system over and over and over. And so I think, my call is both for those innovators to keep going, keep trying and finding those paths. And obviously many of you here are, because we need that, right? We all know it, and I think you've heard it from folks. And I think the leadership of this COP, has really emphasized the innovation and technology as a critical piece of the puzzle here. But it's also incumbent on the system, right, to really be open to those ideas, to find ways. You all have already, all of the folks here, I think, are finding ways to kind of help bring some of those innovations into the system, to be open to that, to think about new ways to do it, to not only be questioning, but also be inviting. And I think that is really incumbent on all of us. We all have a role there to play. To your question of should we be doing technology now or not, we probably should, right?
Okay.
Let's try.
Nice. And then maybe Excellency, like any advice to the startups? Or you also ask the UE currently has the COP presidency. Like, what message do you have to startups or like people listening online?
Of course, first thing I would say, don't give up. It's always will be light in the end of the tunnel. I want to refer to the partnership between United Arab Emirates and United States to come up with this initiative, Aim for Climate. It actually aim of climate is agriculture, innovation for climate, which funded until the fund reached now more than $13 billion, with 500 partners from the private sector and government, and more than 51 sprints. So we believe that innovation and research and development is a key and have important role in increasing the food for the growing world population. In the coming years, we will reach around 10 billion. Okay, and without innovation, without research, we cannot emphasize on it again and again. The production is coming lower than before because the climate change impact from impacting on natural resources, the weather is changing from years after years. There are floods. The rain is much less in some area. So we need some innovation which can help smallholder farmers again, to improve their productivity with less water, with less nutrition. I don't want to talk about high technology like vertical farming and this kind of. I want to talk on the technologies which can be affordable by smallholder, manageable, and without impacting on their profit margin. So we believe also that is bringing all this innovation and entrepreneurs who are believe to help and support small-scale farmers or livestock. When we're talking about farmers, even we talk about livestock owner. So is it important to gather them? This is why the UAE and US come up with this initiative about agriculture innovation. Thank you.
No, very nice. And I think this is exactly what you were saying, is like this element of like partnerships, but also what I like, what I heard from all of you is like, okay, of course we need to listen to the entrepreneurs. At the same time, I want to point out that like, I don't know if you realized, so like you have a panel of really, really impactful and like people with influence who are funders, who are actually able to support you, who are all saying like, yes, we're willing to support you, and like this was amazing to actually hear. So like, this is of course something, there's a shout out to you. Now, with this, we're almost at time. Now, I think I just want to say, first of all, thank you again to like United Nations Climate Change, UNFCCC, Global Innovation Hub for hosting us. Great, thanks Alex also for the partnership, doing this again this year. I want to say thank you for all our partners, and like the panel again. What we really want to show, the time to act is now, and we need to scale innovations. Innovations can have an impact. They can have an impact on scale, just that we need not today, not today, right now, right? This is what we need to talk about. Like also what this panel showed is like the diverse perspective. What we agreed on is that innovations can be critical, technology can be critical, not for everything. And of course, there's going to be challenges, like it's not going to fix all the problems in the world, but like together, we can actually achieve something that's really, really meaningful. And my personal takeaway is, if we can find just, more like the 3 startups and entrepreneurs that we saw here today, there's more in our portfolio, there's more what you heard in the programs that we were just talking about. I think that can be a key step towards tackling climate change and also ending hunger. So with this, I want to say thank you again to the panel. Thank you for the picture. Thank you for UNFCCC. Thank you everybody for joining us and enjoy your time. Thank you very much.